Hello and welcome to lesson 2 on Scratch programming. In this video, we will learn about using sprites in Scratch. In this video, we shall learn about what is a sprite, using Scratch's built-in sprites, creating your own sprites. Now, what is a sprite? A sprite is a special type of image. It's one image that includes multiple symbols or graphics. In Scratch programming language, a sprite is an image that can be programmed to move, respond to events, and interact with other sprites. Sprites can be created from scratch or imported from files on your computer. This means you can use your own images as sprite, as we shall see by the end of this video. Once you have created a sprite, you can give it its scripts, costumes, and sounds in your program. So here we have an illustration on how we can manipulate a sprite. This first image here is an orange image, but it can be manipulated to change color as shown here. So this is a blue, yellow, and red image. This also here is a yellow sprite of a Pac-Man. It can be manipulated to move along these white dots. So as you can see here, it's expected to move along these dots to meet this blue ghost. So this is an example of what we can do using sprites, and it's the same concepts that we will use as we are doing our animations in Scratch. Now I want us to work on sprites practically. So we will move to Scratch program to learn more about sprites based on the objectives of our lesson.
So now let us go to Scratch platform, and we are going to look at the interface of Scratch so that we can be able to understand where to find the different things for our project. So if we use the first, if we look at the first panel here where you have the blue color, so we have different icons, stroke tabs that we can use for different purpose. So the first one is the globe here. So this one helps you to change the language that you want to use in your project. And the second one is file. So the first option is if you want to open a new file, you click on new. Load from your computer is opening a project that you had done previously, but you want to proceed with that project, so you can use the second option. The third option is after you work with your project, you may want to save it for future reference, so you click on save to your computer. The other tab is edit. So edit helps you to either restore a change that you had deleted, or you can change the mode of your screen or the stage that we have. So just to mention, where we have the cut here is what we mention or what we say as the stage. So when you hear me talk of a stage, I am meaning of this white area surrounding the cut. The other option is tutorial. As you can see, it is a written tutorial with a bulb giving light. So ideally under tutorial is where you get different tutorials to make different games. So as you can see, we have the tutorials like animate your name, imagine a world, make a chess, make a clicker game, and so on. So if you want to learn about making a certain project, you can come here, choose any, project and follow the instructions that are available in that tutorial. So the other part is where we have Scratch project. So under Scratch project, we have a place whereby you can give your project a title. So as you can see, it has already been given Scratch project, but you may want to give it a unique name that you can always remember when you're trying to reuse the project that you already made. So this one is written Scratch project, but I can add some identifier. So I can call it Science Project 1. So anytime I want to retrieve the project that I'm going to do, I'll always refer to Scratch project 1, and then I'll get it in my computer. So the next part is where we have 3 tabs. So the first one is code, we have costumes and sounds. So these tabs each has its own purpose, and the first one, which is code, this is where we have the instructions or the commands, or if you like, codes to use as you are doing your project or you're programming your sprites and so on. So as you can see, they have different categories, but in our next video we shall look at what each and every category mean and how we can use them. The second one is about costume. So under costumes, we have a place whereby we can modify our sprites or our images. So if you want to change color, if you want to make your card to have some text and all that, so this is the tab we use. So it's basically for sprites and also for the stage. And the last one is where we have sound. So this tab helps you to edit sound, adding sound to your project. It also allows you to upload sounds that you'd like to use. So this is the place you go to be able to use the sound in your project. So we shall also have a separate video to explain how you can use sound in your project. So now I want us to look at sprite, which is the objective of this video. So if you look at where I have my stage and a cat in it, so this is what we call the stage, and the cat, we call it a sprite. So this sprite always comes as the first image you'll see when you open Scratch, or if you open a new project, you'll first see the cat, but you may not want to use it in your project, so you can remove it. And to remove it, we have a delete button. So if you move down your screen, there is a cat, another cat, smaller cat here, and on that cat there is a delete button. So if you click on that, the cat disappears. So that's how we delete a cat. So we need to add another sprite of our choice, and there are normally 4 ways we can do it. So the first one, we can choose a sprite that is found in the library of Scratch. So if you open the Scratch library, you'll get a lot of images that you can use. The second option, you can paint, and the third option, you can select a surprise sprite. So once you click on that, as we shall see, it normally gives you a sprite, which is, you know, a surprise. And the fourth one is you can get your own picture and download. You can either download, take it on the camera, save it in your computer, and then you can upload your sprite or image into Scratch, and we will do it as an example. So let's do the first one. So if you click on this head over here, I believe it's a head of a cat. So it gives you 4 options, and as I had mentioned, so the first one, it's choose a sprite. So it takes you to the library or the collection of many pictures stroke images available. So as you can see, there's so many. So we can choose one. Let me choose a bear. So once you click on it, it appears on your stage. So that is the first option. The second option is paint. So as you can see, it's written paint. So if I click on it, it takes me to costume and it allows me to paint or draw my sprites. So these are the icons that will help you to do your painting stroke drawing. So for example, let me choose the brush. So I can choose the brush, draw a shape and another shape, another shape. So okay, so let me use a different color. So to use a different color, you go to where you have fill. So if you go to fill, you can move these sliders and choose the color of your choice. So let me use a black. That's dark red. Let me just use black. So let me put my eyes and my eyes and my nose. Oh, have a big nose and a mouth. I can also decide to add ears in another ear, so don't worry about my shape. So that's it. If you want to fill your image, so filling it with color, so I can decide to change color. I need a lighter one so that okay, I'm able to see some colors. Okay, let me just use a bit of yellow, brown. Okay, I believe that should be enough. So now I need to fill. So if I click on a shape, I am able to fill the color. So you see, then I can be able to change the black that I had used to a different color as long as I touch on the lines I had drawn. So that's how we do it. And if you want to use circles, shapes, they're all here. If you want to erase, this is what you use, and so on. So now if I go to my stage, you can see I am able to move my sprite as one object. So that's what you can do if you want to paint your sprite. So the third one is surprise. So this one is very simple because if I click on surprise, it gives me a surprise sprite. If I click on it again, it will just pick without using any criteria. So that's it. It doesn't have any special features. It's only picks the sprites that are within the library of Scratch. So the last one is upload sprite. So as I had mentioned, so uploading sprite means you are going to your computer, choose a picture that you had previously taken either with your camera or you had downloaded from the website or online. And if I do it as an example, so I need to click the fourth option. There you go. So it takes me to saved pictures. So these pictures I had already downloaded, so I am able to pick them. So let's say, for example, let me pick the goat. So I click on it and click on open. So as you can see, my goat has appeared on my stage. So that's another option. If you want to make more personalized projects, you can take your own pictures and upload them in Scratch. So the last thing I want us to look at, it's the setting of this. How do we manipulate the size and the position of an image? So we need to move down a bit. There is some numbers and words down here. So as you can see where I'm pointing. So here we have the first thing, you can see the sprite. So the first option, you can change the name of your sprite. So instead of being goat1, I can call it goat7. And when I save it, it will appear as goat7. So the next one is where we have X and Y. So as you can see, we have this X with some figures here or some numbers, and then we have Y with some numbers. So what these numbers do, they help you to work with position without having to drag the image that you're working with. Let's say if you are creating a game and you want to be very exact in your position, these are the numbers you use. And let's see an example what will happen if I change the number. So instead of -29, I want to put 100. If I enter, you can see what's happening to my GOT. My Y, let me change to also 100. And if I enter, so you can see. So X helps you to position your image along or in a horizontal way. So any number that I'm going to put, it's going to change the position horizontally. So if it's up and down, then we use the Y numbers. So if, for example, this is 100, if I change it to say, let's say -100, I expect my GOT to go down. So if you see, so remember, X it's horizontal position and Y it's vertical or up and down position. So the other one is show. So as you can see under show, we have two icons there. So the first one is to show. So if you want to see your image, you have to make sure that this icon is selected, it's blue in color. The second one is show but with a cancellation sign. So this one is to hide your image. So as you can see, now you can't see my GOT, but if I click on show, it appears. I click on the other one, it hides the image. So if you want to perform some trick on appear and disappear, then this is what you're going to use. And then the last one, it's the sizes. We have sizes and direction. So the size, it's how big the image is, and we use 100 as the standard of measurement. So if I still, let me show my GOT. So if you look at my GOT, so the size that it has been given right now, it's 100. So that means if I want it to be bigger than this, I need to put a number bigger than 100. If I want it to be small, I need to put a number that is smaller than 100. Let's do it as an example. So 100, a number bigger than 100, let me put 150. You see, it's now becoming bigger than it was before. If I want it to be a bit smaller, then I need to start from 100 and put a number below 100. So let me try 50. So when I put 50, you can see my image has become quite small. So that's how you change the size using those settings. And the last one is the direction. So direction, it's the side in which your image is facing. And for this one, I'll try it with a different image. So let me try with Griffin. So it was put as my surprise sprite. So my Griffin. So what I have to do, so what I've done is, initially I had my GOT, now I am going to Griffin. But if you look down here, there's something that has happened. So I wanted to move down, way down here. Okay, I need to do something. Okay, I want us to see. So if you look down here, you can see the list of all the sprites that I am using, including the one I painted. So if I am working on a sprite, you will realize down here, it is normally surrounded by some blue color, meaning I have selected that image. So if I need to edit another image, I need to make sure I select the other image. A good example, I was working with the gold, so it was selected blue. But now I want to work with the Griffin. So I have to make sure I come here and click on the Griffin. And now whatever I'm going to do will be happening, or all the changes will happen to the griffing sprite. Now let's do it with the direction and see what it's going to happen. So if I click on the direction, you can see there's a circle that appears with an arrow showing different kind of blues. Now see, as I am moving this arrow, something is happening. The direction in which the griffing is looking at is changing as I am changing that arrow. So the direction is changing, and I can use it to manipulate the image. So if I don't want it to look at or to look in that direction as it is right now, I can move it to this other direction, and then you see it is facing a different side altogether. However, you may find that if you are using this circle, sometimes the griffin looks as if it is upside down. So you may not want that, but you just want it to move either from right, left, or to look from right and move to looking to the left. So you can use this icon here, which is written left, right. So what that means, if I click on it and I rotate it, so it just changes from either right and left. So if I move it a bit, so it will not, you know, change how to look as if it is upside down. So if you're working with your game or your animation, that's the best way to do it, to make sure this is selected, and then as you rotate it, it will either move from right to left. So there's a last icon here. If you don't want your image to rotate, then you have to make sure that icon is selected. So as I am moving my arrow, you will find that there's nothing happening. So those are some of the things you can do with your image. However, there are so much more, like if you'd like to add color to your griffin, but that one will move to a different kind of setting, which we will talk about in a separate video. Thank you so much, and thank you for watching.